Shalom Yasharallah, this your brother Dawada, coming back at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you, Akim, pushing this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So I want to jump into this here article real quick. As we know, we're getting closer and closer to the day of the Lord, all right? And as you're watching the preparations of these final prophecies coming into play, all right, it says Indian troops fight side by side with Russian tanks and soldiers as part of a massive war game simulation anti-terrorism operation, all right? And one of the reasons that they do these military drills is for what? Training. Just like a boxer goes into the ring, he trains before his actual fight. All right. Now, these are joint military exercises, letting you know that there's going to be a conglomeration of nations that's going to be fighting together with, a conglomeration of nations versus another conglomeration of nations, which is going to fall out into what they call World War III. All right. It says a contingent of Indian troops have arrived in Russia ahead of the military drills that will see soldiers from both nations trained to fight a range of threats, including those posed by terrorist attacks, using cutting-edge hardware. In a statement used by Moscow's Ministry of Defense on Monday, Defense Chief announced that Indian military units will take part in the Zapad 2021 Joint Strategic Exercise. According to officials, upon arrival, military personnel from India were given Russian equipment, including T-72B3 tanks and BMP-2 infantry fighting vehicles, which they will use to participate in the main stage of the exercise. All right, as you can already see that Russia is supplying them with, not to say with these elements, but with these basically tools of war. All right, this equipment. At least 200 of New Delhi's forces are taking part in a 2-week-long drill held on Russian soil. According to defense source, a total of 9 countries are involved in the exercise and 8 observers. All right, so hey, it's not just Russia or not just America with NATO that has allies and friends. All right, you also have their opponents, which is Russia. All right, they have their mainstay allies, and then they're getting more. That list is getting longer and longer by every move that these Americans are making. All right. It says, let me read this last sentence again. According to the defense source, a total of 9 countries are involved in the exercises, with 8 observers, including China and Pakistan. The exercise aims to enhance military and strategic ties amongst the participating nations while they plan to execute the drills, the organizers say. All right. The forces of the exercises is to be understood by combating terrorist operations in a large number of Central Asian countries, including Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan, are sending soldiers to share skills, rehearse missions. Moscow has warned in recent weeks that instability in Afghanistan since the U.S. troop withdrawal last month could spill over into neighboring nations and has stepped up training with partners in the region as a result. All right, so going into these here things, all right, you can see how this here, build up for this here time, to utilize these multi-nations, training together, the joint military exercise and skills of how something as small as, like, let's say the Afghanistan thing could turn over into, a spill of World War III. All right. Russia has pacts with certain nations like Iran that if they get attacked, that they're going to come to their aid. Same with Syria. All right. America has the same type of pacts with their allies and NATO members. All right. So it doesn't have to be the big 2 main players that start this thing off. It could be, some of the smaller partners, and like the scripture say, the least of the flock shall draw them out. Going into Israel, it looks like Israel and Iran are going to be that boiling point. All right, let's jump into some scriptures real quick. This is Matthew 24 and verse 3. It says, "And he sat upon the Mount of Olives, and the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, what shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming and the end of the world?" All right. And so as we're measuring the time diligently in itself, based off of these here prophecies, we can see that, like the scriptures say, the vision is yet for an appointed time. We see again that these nations are conducting these military drills, or they're practicing for something. All right. You practice in football for game day. You practice in boxing for your title bout. All right. Fight night. So these military exercises are being prepared for what? D-Day. All right. Jumping down, it says verse 6, and you should hear of wars and rumors of wars, as we hear about, the wars and rumors of wars, at least the rumors of wars with the pullout of Afghanistan, and how, with these quote unquote, the migration movements of these people in these areas are stirring up turmoil. People are rejecting them, and then now you're going to have these people having to, quote unquote, step in. All right. A lot of different things could pop off. There's people here in America whose minds are set on whether or not they can participate in society. All right. The rise of food costs and prices. All right. Just the normal politics and things going on here and there. They're not even realizing that World War III is drumming up the battle behind them, And this is also why we go into telling people about, hey, man, this is not your rest. Arise ye and depart, for it is polluted. Don't be trying to make a mainstay here for in America, man, because, these are the same type of people who don't see and believe that World War III is on the right around the corner, for one, let alone to see the scriptures to know that this place is not going to exist that much more longer. All right. But they're the ones that say, oh, I got to go to college, in 4 to 8 years, I can have my doctorate degree. I can be this, I can be that. And then things will be popping. I'm like, yo, man, you got World War III brewing in the background. This shit, obviously there's a time and a place, the vision is yet for an appointed time. But nevertheless, World War III could pop off tomorrow, and this whole place could be a nuclear pile of ash, man. All right. But yet and still people aren't focused on those things, man. All right. This is why we were set up to be the watchmen, to watch for these things, to warn our people of these things, to keep it in their minds, because they're not the watchmen. It's just like the weatherman and you as the consumer. All right. You're not sitting out there looking at the meteorology reports and the radars and all these different things like that. You have a meteorologist for these things to report these things to you, to keep you in the loop about these things, right? This is our job as the watchmen, all right? Verse 6 again, and you should hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines. All right, we're experiencing those here in America. Pestilence, all right, we're experiencing that in America. Not just that, not just here, globally. Earthquakes in diverse places. All right, we're still seeing these things happening, and not just earthquakes, but all kind of what they would call natural disasters. There's multiple places that's on fire, burning down right now. All right, you just had Louisiana, them getting rocked, even New York getting hit with a hurricane, and more to come. All right, wildfires, earthquakes, floods, all these different things, tornadoes. All right, you have all kind of different weather events that's tearing up shit around the world right now as well too. All right. Verse 8, all these are the beginning of sorrows. All right, and this is the time that we're living in. The time of mirth and living it up and living your best life is all over with now, man. All right, now people used to talk about the fear mongering, but damn near everything right about now is pretty much more of an how do I put it? It's more on a expedient level now. All right, now it's not the time to be playing around with a lot of different things, because again, you have to take things serious as far as the hour of temptation coming upon the whole earth. Now people can't just ignore about what's going on medically, what's going on around the globe, because now it's messing with you financially at your job and things like that, and how you can move around, and maybe even where you live in, the apartments that you live in and things like that, man. All right, World War III is on the cups of erupting. You had to pull out in Afghanistan. Now there's talks of having to draft these women, and we may have to start sending more troops. It could be another hot war that it's not really World War III, but another hot war that could send a whole nother surge of your sons and your daughters over there, man. All right, and these are things that people think that they can just ignore, but we know that all these things are working together towards the Most High's will and His plan. All right, the prophecies. All right, let's go from there to Ezekiel 38. All right, I'm going to touch on the fact of this military conglomeration. All right, and then being put back into that power seat, man. For what reason and what purpose? It's to wage war against Babylon. All right. I could read this whole thing, but I'm gonna just touch on verse 7. All right, Ezekiel 38. Well, let me go up to verse 4. I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth in all thy army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shields and helmet. Gomer and all his bands, and the house of Tomargah of the north quarters, and all his bands, and many people with thee. All right. So you have a conglomeration of nations right here being under the the umbrella or protection of Russia. All right. Verse 7, be thou prepared and prepare thyself. And this is what you see in nations are doing with Russia. These military drills, they're preparing for battle, man. They're preparing to work together as a joint military operation. All right. Be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. So this is exactly what you're seeing being shaped up in the news and the media going on across the globe with these military joint military exercises on both sides, you know, the American side and the Russian side, man. All right. And there, a lot of them, some of them are even taking place around in the same areas. All right. You're seeing different deals being strengthened between a lot of these different nations, partnerships being developed. All right. You got the Nord Stream 2. I believe it was supposed to go online sometime this week or something like that. But hey, all these things are going to cause more and more turmoil. All right. Because even with that, they're trying to supply gas to Germany and stuff like that, which is an American ally, man. All right. So as you can see, the idea of this conglomeration of nations on the Russian side has potential to keep getting bigger and bigger as we go along. All right. So, like, you know, for those that don't believe in the scriptures, man, hey, man, you can pretty much predict what's going to be in tomorrow's headline news just by looking at these prophecies, man, if you had an eye to see these things, man. All right. But look, this was given unto us to know about these things, man. The mysteries of the kingdom of heaven was given unto us. Blessed are your eyes to see these things, man. We see how the Lord is coming, man. People say, oh, you're invisible, God, and you're this, and that. How you believe in that, and so on and so forth. Hey, man, our God ain't invisible, man. All right, our God is directing your goddamn news articles, man. Our God is directing the mindsets of your politicians, and you think that they're doing all these absurd things. No, they're just bowing down to the commandments of the Most High. All right, and this is all you see in being played out right now is the Most High's will, man. All right, you think you have free will, then why is all these things going down this destructive path, man? Everybody's about to lose everything based off the path that they're going down right about now. And it's not because they want to go down these paths. They all want to go back to living their best life. But guess what? They just like that damn fly being sucked into that little purple light that's about to zap his ass, man. All right, you're drawn to the light, and now this is the end all be all for your ass, man. And you can't control it because you're in the hands of the Most High. All right. Let me go to the book of Jeremiah 51:11. Make bright the arrows, gather the shields. Yahweh have raised up the spirit of the kings of the Medes. All right, like I was going into, the Lord is the one that's controlling the minds of these leaders and what they will be doing and everything else like that. All right, as far as them, maybe we should have a military drill together, because really all it would take is for one nation to be like, you know what, I ain't really with this. And then things could just keep being prolonged. So, like, for instance, let's say Russia never approached Turkey with the S-400 deal and Turkey never received it. They would still be buddy-buddy with America and NATO. They'd still be in the F-35 program, prolonging these here prophecies, man. All right, but like Obadiah 1:7 says about those that eat thy bread have laid that snare up under thee. All right, these are all predicated off the words of the Most High. They're just falling in line and falling in order and playing their role in their position, man. There's no change in these things, man. It's the Most High that's directing all of this. All right. It says, make bright the arrows, gather the shields. Yahweh have raised up the spirit of the king of the Medes, for his device is against Babylon. All right. To destroy it, because it is the vengeance of Yahweh, the vengeance of his temple. You know, a lot of these people would say, oh, America has a lot to pay for, the slavery and all these different things. Yeah, it does. But how do you think that Babylon or America is going to pay for these things, man? All right. Right now, you're seeing the buildup of that waiter about to bring that heavy ass check, man. All right. They're over at the computer screen, tallying up your bill, printing it out, putting it in a little book, and walking it over to your table right now. You about to get hit with the bad news. Damn, you got a big-ass bill to pay, man. All right? But nevertheless, again, this is all being orchestrated by the Most High, and we're seeing it all as it plays out, man. All right? We're seeing these nations gather together. We're seeing these nations work together jointly militarily. We're seeing Russia actually providing them with missile defense systems and shields and weaponry and things like that, man. All right? We're seeing the provocations and the posturing between the two superpowers. We're seeing the diminishment of, is a military helicopter right there. We're seeing the diminishing of the allied forces, or the relationships between America and their allies, and the strengthening of Russia and their allies. All right. So this is all according to the Most High's plan and his will, and how these things are being shaping up into this here day. All right. Let me jump down a little bit. Verse 28, prepare against her. Listen, prepare against her the nations, plural, with the kings of the Medes. All right, so a conglomeration of nations. All right, and now we're seeing these joint drills with India and these other nations alongside with Russia. All right, the captains thereof, and all the rulers thereof, and all the land of his dominion. And the land shall tremble, and sorrow for every purpose of Yahweh shall be performed against Babylon, which is America, to make the land of Babylon a desolation without inhabitants. All right, so going into that, what do they have that can do that? All right, namely those intercontinental ballistic missiles, thermonuclear warfare. All right, and this is what they're advancing in their weaponry. This is what they're practicing with and everything else like that. All right, and this is what they're preparing to do. All right. Well, let me read the next couple verses. The mighty men of Babylon have forborne to fight. They have remained in their holds. Their might have failed. They have become as women. They have burned in their dwelling places. Their bars are broken. One post shall run to meet another, and one messenger to meet another, to show the king of Babylon that a city is taken at one end. All right, so let me keep reading. And the passages were stopped, and the reeds that they have burned with fire, and the men of war were frightened. So, you know, if they're having these new revealing of some of these Russian-made weapons, namely like the hypersonic missiles, S-500 and things like that. America's looking around. It's like, damn, how do we stop this? We so far behind, we can't even stop these things. You know, China developing a what they call it, China and Russia really developing a aircraft carrier destroyer. All right, so now you know the mighty men of war. They're afraid of the weaponry that they have out there now, man. All right, it's not like that they have a even match. You know, they've been the superior opponent on the battlefield for so long, but now they're seeing their match. All right, now they're coming to the king. Now they're being brought to the king of terrors, man. All right, let's go back a little bit. Jeremiah 50:3. For out of the north, all right, coming from Russia, there cometh up a nation against her, which shall make her land desolate, and none shall dwell therein, and they shall remove, and they shall depart both man and beast. All right, so this is like we was just reading in chapter 51. This is Russia and their conglomeration of nations to ultimately do the will of the Most High, which is to destroy the land of Babylon. All right, jumping down to verse 9. For lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon, saying the same thing, which is America, an assembly. We keep coming into these words of more than one person, right? An assembly of great nations, all right, from the north country. All right, and this is what we're seeing them practicing right now. So for those who don't think that this is going to amount to anything, these words was written before these nations were even called by these formal names, and now you're seeing it all being played out right now. So what would make you think that these things aren't true? You know, like the scriptures say, what if some didn't believe? All right, hey, don't mean it's not going to come around. All right, come to pass. These things are still slated to happen, man. And you're just seeing the buildup of it all, man. You're seeing the beginning of your own end. All right, and it's a hard pill to swallow, because if people had to actually sit there and think about these things, they would just have to basically hang their head low and probably blow their brains out. Like, you know what? I'd rather just blow my brains out than get hit with a nuclear missile, because we ain't gonna survive anyway, man. This is the Lord's plan, and you know, so on and so forth. So what do? They keep telling themselves lies, man. Like the children of Israel say. They say, prophesy unto us smooth things, tell us lies, man. Make the Holy One cease from us, because deep down inside they know that they're doing wickedness. If they continue to do their wickedness, they're going to get judged for it. So they rather just live in their wickedness and lie to themselves about these things. And then, you know, hopefully that judgment comes swiftly like a thief in the night. And then, you know, I can just live wickedly my whole life. And then maybe one day I'll just, you know, unexpectedly get hit by a bus, and it's just over like that. But at least I got to have fun the whole time, right? Nah, man. All right. This is why a lot of these people have what they call cognitive dissonance, man. All right. Where they don't want to believe these things, man. But ultimately, this is the truth, man. But we're only out here to warn the elect, like the scriptures say. Hey, give them warning from me, and if they don't want to take heed to the warning, they're gonna die, you know, in their own iniquity. But your hands are clean, all right. Going back to 9. For lo, I will raise the cause to come up against Babylon, an assembly of great nations from the north country, and they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence she shall be taken. The arrow shall be as a mighty expert man, none shall return in vain. All right, so hey, we already know what the ultimate end game goal and plan is going to be. All right, these nations that are how do I say it, that are in league or confederate, that's the word I was looking for. These nations that are confederate with Russia right now, all right, not only are they going to shoot their arrows at America, but America's allies are going to ultimately turn on them to shoot their arrows at America as well too. They're going to see that America has become more of a liability than an asset. All right. Man, let me just jump down for time's sake, get to the point here. 29, verse 29, it says, call together the archers against Babylon, all ye that bend the bow, camp against it round about, and let none thereof escape. Recompense her according to her work, according to all that she have done, do unto her, for she have been proud against Yahweh, the Holy One of Israel. So ultimately, this is America's judgment for all the things that America has done. All right, the blasphemy and Xing out Yahushua, putting up that white man face and teaching and pushing this here narrative out, destroying the children of Israel. All right, refusing to let them go. All right, and just spreading this here wickedness throughout the whole earth, man. Being that golden cup and making the nations drink of that Babylonian juice and just destroying everything, man. All right, but guess what? Now they have to pay for that tab that they've run up. All right. Let me continue. Let me just jump down a little bit. I can start at verse 40. Let me just start at verse 40 for time's sake. As the Most High overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah and the neighboring cities thereof, saith Yahweh, so shall no man abide there, neither shall any son of man dwell therein. All right, and this is going into here in America, Babylon the Great being completely destroyed off the face of the earth through thermonuclear warfare. All right. Behold, a people shall come from the north, a great nation, and many kings shall be raised up from the coast of the earth. And they shall hold the bow and the lance. They are cruel, they will not show mercy. Their voice shall roar like the sea. They shall ride upon horses, every one put in array like a man to the battle against thee, O daughter of Babylon. So, hey, these nations are going to come up against Babylon. So just keep being repeated back to back to back to back to back. All right. The king of Babylon have heard the report of them. His hands waxed feeble. Anguish took hold of him, and pangs as a woman in travail. All right. So ultimately, these nations are, how do I say, they're seeing the development of these, Russian equipment and weapons and things like that, and how their allies' relationships are breaking down, and how Russia's allies' relationships are being strengthened right now. All right, so now they have to make certain types of moves, man. Listen to how they talk about the Russian hypersonic weapons, and they're where they're at with their hypersonic weapons, man. Listen to them talk about Russian offensive weapons comparably to America's defensive missile defense systems, man. All right, they're afraid of these things because they know they don't have any kind of weaponry to match these types of things, man. All right, whether it be, something offensive like the F-35 versus their Russia's defensive weapon, the S-400, man. There's no match, man. All right. Is there something else in here I want to grab? Nah, that was pretty much it. But nevertheless, just touching in on this here article real quick, as we see as the days go by, we see in Russia being a garden to these other nations, whether it be, China, Iran, Syria, Pakistan, India, all these different nations and things like that. Hell, even some of America's allies, man. All right. But nevertheless, Turkey and things like that, man. We're seeing how this thing is building up, man. Things that people couldn't see from years ago. America's allies are going to always be there, and so on and so forth. And these things will never happen. The war will never come to American soil. But now the tables are turning. Now the narrative is all changing, man. Not so long ago, they used to think that, America would never be all shut down. They would never do all this. We got constitutional rights. We got this and we got that. But look at the state that you're in right now, man. All right, the city of Merth is shut down and closed, man. All right, but now, at the end of the day, it's the Most High's words that's going to stand. Let every man be a liar, but hey, let the Most High be true. All right, and this is what you're seeing being played out. All right, the Most High's movie is being played out to the T, man. All right, so with that, I'm going to go ahead and close out, giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushua, Bahashim, Rakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you all, I can pushing this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth, and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Till next time, I say stay strong. Shalom.